first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. This is something we do every weekday. Starting at 1 p.m., we go throughout the afternoon, and we get to cover a wide range of topics here. So thanks for joining us. Right now, we are talking about something that artists in the region should be very interested in, and it is the GLEAN program. So this is a very unique opportunity. It's a bunch of organizations actually coming together, but essentially, there is a stipend, there is an artist package that you can get where you could actually be part of an exhibit that's going to be coming up. You know what? We're going to get into the details of it and actually explain it right now because we are joined by Leslie from GLEAN. And Leslie, thank you very much for joining us here today, to talk about this project and just what this is. I think it's so unique and it's an interesting way for artists to get involved in reusable materials. So much to talk about. To start off, though, would you mind just telling us just a little bit about yourself and GLEAN in this program and how it got started?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me and for helping to spread the word. So my name's Leslie Vigeant. I've been overseeing the GLEAN program for 6 years now. And so GLEAN is an artist residency, which means that we offer artists a unique opportunity. In this case, it's access to the Metro Central Transfer Station, which is lovingly known as the dump, like the city, the actual city dump. The program was launched in 2010, and it is a sister program of the Artist in Residency program at Recology in San Francisco, which was founded in 1990. So in 2010, Deborah from San Francisco and folks on the Portland end got together and decided, hey, I think we could do this sort of a residency in Portland. And that's when it started. And then you mentioned it's a bunch of different organizations. So GLEAN is a partnership between Recology, which I just mentioned, which is an employee-owned company that manages resource recovery facilities. Metro, which is a regional government here in Portland, and they oversee Portland's garbage and recycling systems. And then Reclaim It, which is a nonprofit environmental arts organization. And they're really well known for their awesome store, also called Reclaim It, in North Portland on Killingsworth, which was awesome and people should check out.
So those are the different organizations involved in this. And I mean, I think it's really such a fascinating way for somebody to go about creating art. So I think to start off, and from what I understand, were you one of these artists involved in this?
Yeah, yeah.
So you were part of this. So what was it like when you were first approached to that, to say, to be part of this GLEAN program, to, as you mentioned, to go to the dump, to look for materials for your artwork and your projects?
Yeah, it's a really wild experience. When I had applied, I was a student still. I was getting my master's degree, and 5 artists are selected for GLEAN, one of which is a student. So I was lucky enough to get that student slot. But you have this small cohort of people that get this pretty exclusive access to the transfer station, which, like, anybody that's ever gone to get rid of a couch, for example, knows what it's like when you go to the dump. And sometimes you see stuff and it's really cool and you want to take it and you can't. So as an artist, as a GLEAN artist, you're able to go and take whatever you want. I mean, it's a sensory experience, to say the least. It smells, it's loud, there's stuff everywhere that you have to be really careful for, like safety is of the utmost importance. But it's a really unique experience as an artist because you also have endless materials, like access to free endless materials, which is a wild gift, an opportunity. It's also a brain bender because you have to really learn how to take things apart and clean things and really see the potential in these materials that would otherwise be going to the landfill. So you really have to kind of like stretch your practice in an unexpected way.
You mentioned sensory overload, which absolutely, I mean, I think, anybody who's ever been there before, getting rid of stuff is aware of that, or has experienced that. So for you as an artist, when you're going there with all those different things going on, the sights, the smells, the sounds of the Metro transfer station there, what is it that you're looking for as an artist? What stands out to you as you're going through there when you're looking for materials?
Yeah, I think that really depends on a case-by-case basis for the different artists. When I was in residence, I was really interested in the hazardous waste facilities, which is where there's paint and spray paint and glues and epoxies and kind of all the fun stuff. But so for me, that was a really exciting space because I could get endless free paint, house paints, but also oil paints, acrylic paints, things that people are getting rid of that you don't just toss in the trash. A lot of artists that apply for Glean are looking for fabric. I think that's a pretty common thing. And you can actually see an artist on this reel here who's working with collage and working with fabrics and thread that they've found. One of the restrictions of the residency is that I think it's 95% of the materials used to make your work have to be gleaned from the transfer station. So it's a really, really strict policy. So when you go to the show, which we'll talk about in a second, but when you go to the show, what you're seeing is just really good art. It's excellent, contemporary, thoughtful work that artists have made. But like secretly, not secretly, 95% of it is made out of materials from the transfer station. So again, like people are looking, some people are looking for beads, they're looking for thread, they're looking for couches, they're looking for old TVs. It really spans the gamut of what is there.
That really is amazing. And just
oh, what?
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say it's kind of amazing just looking at some of the different pieces there too that we were just showing, just all the different ways that people, an artist's mind can see something that other people are not going to see out of what could be trash, for a lot of people. Just using that term for it. I mean, that's so amazing of some of those things that are being created out of that.
Yeah, totally. It's all very unexpected. We always have a material list when you go to the show so you can see what everything is made out of, but it's so interesting because sometimes you truly can't recognize what people are using, and sometimes they're using very unexpected things. That artist the last clip that you just showed was using glass. She found these glass chandeliers and all of these glass bits and was able to melt them down and fuse them in a kiln. So those are some like hearts and little kind of ball forms that she made that were like accessories to larger pieces, or like smaller pieces inside of larger pieces, but you would never know, right, that like where they came from or what they used to be.
That is so cool. Well, for the artists who want to be part of this program, for those artists that want to be part of the program, what do they need to do to maybe put themselves in a position to be selected? Like, what are some of the things that you're looking for?
Yeah, the main thing we're looking for is just really good work, really strong portfolios, which I do tend to think starts with the documentation of the work, like making sure that you're having good, clear photography. It doesn't need to be a professional photos. Some people can't afford to have professional photos, but with phones these days, you can get a really high quality shot as long as the lighting is nice and the background is clear. Those are things I would recommend. The call for artists is open now through next Friday, October 17th. So people can cruise through the applications and look at like the specific steps that they have to go to, but it's a really straightforward application in terms of an arts application. It's only 4 to 6 images, which is pretty low, and a short proposal. So we want to know what you're thinking about making for Glean. We're also looking to hear about how you're thinking about material reuse, how you're thinking about processes, how you're thinking about scale, like how big the work is, and if there are any conceptual underpinnings that you are mulling over when you're making your work, like a message you want to come across to the artist. Those things aren't necessary or required, but it helps the jury to understand where your head's at and what your experience is.
Might give you a little bit of a heads, get a little bit of a head there maybe in the process. When it comes to that too, for the ones that are selected, so can you tell us, what it is that they're going to receive as part of this and this exhibit that's going to be coming up as well?
Yeah, so when the 5 artists are selected, as I mentioned, one is a student. It has to be a student currently enrolled in a college or university, so it could be an undergraduate, post-bac, or graduate program. And then one of the slots is for somebody with an excellent level of craft in their portfolio, and that is actually supported by the Rainmaker Craft Initiative, which is a separate organization from our partnerships, and they help to expand education and craft in the Pacific Northwest and specifically in Oregon. So anyway, so we select the 5 people, one for an excellent level of craft, one is a student. All of them have great proposals and great portfolios. And then we have a fairly rigorous onboarding process with safety training, orientation. They have to learn about the PPE and how to stay safe in the hazardous environment of the transfer station. And then they have 5 months to glean materials and make work. And part of that is having studio visits with me, which some of these are shots from studio visits at their studios, and they get critiques, they get group critiques. We have the jury come in for a studio visit and the partners, they get a stipend of $3,000, and then marketing support, and then the culmination is an exhibition at the end of the residency. So it's surprisingly hard to get an opportunity in the city that you live in. And one of the requirements of GLEAN is that people live in the Portland metro area. So it's surprisingly hard to get an opportunity in your own city. It's there's not enough paid residencies out there. A lot of opportunities think the opportunity is the thing that you're getting. So to be able to get a stipend in addition to all of the support is a great thing. Artists should be paid for their work. And it's free to apply, which I think is a really important thing. We really don't want money to be a barrier to access for anybody that's interested in applying. And it's just like a journey. I mean, in terms of like what they're going to expect the unexpected, because you really don't know what's going to happen until you get there. It's not like you're walking into an art store and you're buying cadmium red oil paint and you can depend on the tube being there. When you're in this residency, you might be looking for fabrics and you might walk out with a bunch of wood. You know, it's really like having to respond to what's on site and what's available and be nimble and flexible with that.
Right. I mean, and yeah, as you mentioned, who knows what you're going to find, what's going to catch your eye, what's going to work out, you know, going through that part. I mean, that alone is pretty fascinating just to think about going through the transportation, seeing what's in there, because I've always wondered too, you're looking down there like, what is that somebody threw away? But now they can actually go down in there and take a look at it. That's a whole journey of its own. Well, for Leslie, for the general public too, for people out there who are learning about this program, whether they're an artist or not, you know, what do you think is the most important thing for them to know about GLEAN and this program with all of these different organizations together?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for people to know that it exists, that there are opportunities out there. I think it's really important for people to know that you can think differently about what you're throwing away and that there's potential there. You know, it's always fabulous when people donate goods instead of throwing them away or try to repair things instead of throwing them away. But GLEAN just really offers this other way of thinking about material usage. And I can say from my own experience, but also after watching and working with artists for 6 years, it really changes how these artists think about their practice for the rest of their lives. And I think that anybody that's gone to a GLEAN show as an audience member, they're having a really similar experience where it's like, wow, I never thought door handles could be used that way, or I never thought about doing this or making my own paper, or I never thought about making a light out of XYZ. You know, it really opens the door for people to think about ways to avoid just throwing things into the trash, creating a bigger waste stream. And it really helps people to think also about, you know, what's in front of them rather than buying something. What do you have in front of you that you could upcycle, recycle, change, repair, etc. So that's kind of the message behind GLEAN, is to really reduce waste, reduce materials. We take tons of materials out of the waste stream every year, which is remarkable. And I think it just hopefully just opens people's eyes to other ways of working and being and other ways to think about material waste.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly myself, you know, just watching that too, just as somebody who's learning about this myself. I mean, I'm now rethinking some things that I'm getting ready to throw away. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I can repurpose that into something. You know, I'm not a talented artist, but maybe there's something I can figure out for that. So definitely fascinating stuff. Well, Leslie, thank you so much, you know, for joining us here to talk about this. Now, I want to make sure everybody knows to where and how to go to apply if you're an artist out there who wants to be a part of this.
Yeah, thanks. So the website is gleanportland.com, and GLEAN is, you know, it's called GLEAN because you're gleaning, you're taking materials and rescuing them from the landfill, and gleaning is the act of like picking through. So gleanportland.com is the website, and you can't miss it. It's right on the homepage, and that'll take you to the application. Applications close, as I mentioned, next Friday, October 17th at 10:59 p.m., not midnight, artists. Don't wait until midnight because you'll miss it. There's a way to contact me through the website as well if people have questions about the applications or what to do. They can also find us on Instagram. It's the same thing, Glean Portland. That's our tag on Instagram, and there's tons of information on there and links as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 12 Now. I really appreciate it learning about this, and congratulations on this program running for so long. And I'm excited to see what people come up with. Thanks for being here.
Me too. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
And for everybody watching, this is Fox 12 Now. As I mentioned, we live stream here every weekday. We start at 1 o'clock. We go throughout the afternoon. So we cover a wide range of topics here on the show, but we get to have these longer form discussions. If you download that Fox 12 Oregon app, you can watch these anytime you want, or including live. If there's ever breaking news between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., this is also the place to go. We'll have that outside of our other newscasts. But thanks for joining us. And feel free to send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. If you have an idea for a subject or a segment, or maybe even saw one of our other news shows and you're like, hey, I want to hear some more from that reporter, maybe a deeper dive or some more information on something, we can do that. We can bring the reporter over here and talk to them about that as well. So all kinds of opportunities. Feel free to send me that email. But thank you for joining us. I'll sign off right now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.